me a break, man. Give him a break because he sure deserves one. And when he's back from his break, you'll see his parts made in Japan. He is still my man. So give him a break.
Hey guys, it's Victor gimmeabreakman. Today I'm making kind of a selfish video about something I'm kind of interested in, and I hope you'll be interested in it too. But I do guarantee that just knowing this story will make you, will amaze your Japanese friends, okay? Today I want to talk about something called the San億円事件, which in English they call it the 300 million yen affair. And I was this week I was just teaching as normal, and I sometimes like to look at this day in history type of sites and just find out what happened. So I thought let's teach something relevant and important. And it was Monday, which was December 10th. So I thought, okay, let's find out. And I was bouncing around this side or that side, and found out about this incident, and it's apparently the biggest Japanese heist in history. And it happened in 1968, so I was 1 year old. So I got a pretty good alibi, right? I mean, I've done a lot of bad things in my life, but I think I wasn't even in the country then. So anyway, that's about 300 million yen, which at that time was less than $1 million. But adjusted for 2011 prices, it'd be like $9 million. Anyway, kind of an interesting story. It happened in Tokyo, kind of on the outskirts, a little bit west of it, like on the border, and near a jail, right? And it was I think it was Toshiba. I'll give you links. You can check it all out. It's not so, the facts are not as interesting for me as what didn't happen. And you'll see what I mean in a minute. So it was early in the morning. I think like 9:20, I think it was. And these guys were driving in a car, bringing in the trunk of the car, they were carrying the bonuses for all the employees. Now, something you have to know in Japan is that in the old days, well, this has gone down, but normally, if you work for a company, let's just make it very simple. Let's say that your average salary is $3,000 a month. Okay, you're a salaryman, and that's how much you make a month. Okay, but twice a year in the old days, on maybe once in summertime and once in December, you will get your bonus, and the bonus is anywhere from 3 months to 6 months of your salary. Multiply your salary times 3 or 6, and that's what it might be. Now, the economy's been, in the dumpster for a long time now. So, of course, salaries haven't been that good, and a lot of companies will tell their employees, "Well, this year we can't really afford to give you a big salary, a big bonus. I'm sorry." And actually, a lot of sales are done, like when you buy a car or something, or any big purchase. Sometimes they'll even sell it to you in a way that they're telling you, we'll consider your bonus, so you can actually pay when you get your bonus. So you can pay a little bit up front, and then pay when you get your bonus and that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's part of the culture here, right? Even as an English teacher, when I worked for a bigger school, I got a bonus, and I once dated this girl who I'm embarrassed, I don't remember what it was she was dancing, but she was taking dance lessons of some sort, tango or something. And she told me that once a year, in December, she would have to pay the school an extra 5,000 yen, and that would go to the teacher as the teacher's bonus. And I thought, that's so cool. Man, I wish I could get my students to do that, right? If everybody paid 5,000 yen extra, I'd have a really nice bonus. But we don't do that at Action Language Academy. But anyway, so back to the story. So here's the point: the car is full of money, right? They got everybody's bonus in there. It's like $1 million, and this is 1968, right? I'm only 1 year old, 1 years old, 1 year old, 1 years old, 12 months old. Okay, and so this is what happened. The guy who did it is a genius. He's like Lex Luthor, right? And aren't you excited about the new Superman movie? I can't wait. But it looks kind of serious, huh? I hope there's no jokes. Yeah, Superman should have some jokes, right? But I guess that's more Spider-Man stuff. Anyway, this is the serious version. So this Lex Luthor type of genius guy, he had been writing letters to the company ahead of time saying, kind of threatening that we're going to get you, we're going to bomb you, we're going to do this or that. So on this particular morning, suddenly this police officer shows up on a white motorcycle, little patrol car, motorcycle type, police motorcycle. And he's got the uniform and everything. And he says, who was it? The manager's house has just been bombed. So everybody, get out of the car. I got to check the car, right? So he stops it. Yeah, it was Toshiba's food shoe factory. And it's very near Tokyo Fuchu prison. So I was right about that. I remember this, right? So, yeah, he says that the branch manager's house has been blown up, which reminds me of another movie. Well, I wonder if they got this idea from that movie. There's a movie called, what the hell is it? Oh, man, I can't remember. But you know the one, Bandits. Here it is. Remember this movie? Bandits with Bruce Willis and Billy Bob Thornton, who's kind of a freak, but fun to watch. In that movie, they would go to the branch manager of the bank and like kidnap him. So it's kind of a good idea. Maybe that's where they got the idea. Who knows? But so the cop, back to the story, back to Japan. We're back in Japan, 1968. The cop says the branch manager's house has just been blown up, so I've got to check your car. So he looks under the car, and then all this like smoke starts coming out. And he says, "Oh, run! It's gonna blow!" And everyone goes behind the prison wall. Oh, that's right, the prison wall was right there. And I guess prison walls are more reinforced concrete or something. You know, I'll huff and a puff and I'll blow your house down. Won't work with a prison wall. And when they go back behind the prison wall, the cop gets in the car and drives away. Right? With all the money, woo! Merry Christmas, right? And except they're pagans, so they're all going to go to hell and no Christian heaven for them, and no Christmas tree. I'm just joking. Anyway, so about 20 minutes or 30 or 40 minutes later, I don't remember, but within the hour, they find the car. Some bicycling cop finds the car, and of course it's empty, and that's it. And they never caught the guy. And it's years later. And in those days, they had a kind of what do you call it? Jiko. Jiko is in Japanese jiko. In English, a statute of limitations, right? It's not a statue. I got to tell my students, it's not a statue. It's a statute of limitations. The statute of limitations was like 7 years in those days, and they looked for 7 years, and they thought, oh, he must be a cop because he knew all this stuff, you know. Oh no, it wasn't a cop, so maybe it was a cop's son. But they figured it's always related to some guy related to law enforcement. But they never got anything. I think they had like 120 pieces of evidence, but the criminal was smart. Like he put all this stuff there that didn't have anything to do with the crime at all to confuse people, right? Like, here, I'll just throw in this lighter I found on the counter somewhere and throw it in there, you know? Anyway, he just confused the guys with all this stuff. And they investigated all these people. They invested some 19-year-old guy who was a son of a cop, and they had all these people that were under suspicion, but they never got anybody, right? And one of my students was her husband. She was like 19 or 20 at the time, and she says that her wife's husband was actually suspected and questioned for the same thing, but he didn't do it. So, but here's the interesting thing: in 1975, 7 years later, right, in December, of course, the statute of limitations ran out. So, anybody could have come forward and confessed. But then, in where was it? In 1988, I didn't know about this, but there's actually a statute of limitations for civil liability. So even if the guy had been caught in like 1976, he couldn't have gone to jail, but someone could have sued him. Toshiba, right? Toshiba could have sued him. Toshiba Fuchu factory. They could have sued him and gotten something back, but 1988 came and went, and no one was ever caught. And apparently, a couple other things my students told me was that the numbers on the bills, were they were all written down or something. What is that called? They knew the serial numbers of the bills, and none of the money has ever been spent. So who knows? But and this year, the anniversary came and went, and nobody said anything. But I just thought it was a pretty interesting story, and I guess people don't really talk about it too much, but everyone's still aware of it. So if you ever meet a Japanese person and you want to bring up an interesting conversation, they'll be really impressed if you ask them about the 3億円事件. And that's your little day in Japanese history, something I thought was really interesting. I hope you did too. I will link to a video that's all in Japanese. It's kind of a what is that called? A reenactment, video, and it's here on YouTube. It's really crappy quality, unfortunately. There's also a page on Wikipedia. And if anyone else finds any more information about this crime, it's kind of an interesting crime. I'd like to know. So let me know. Send me a PM. Thanks for watching.